And welcome back to Politics Unplugged. We now turn our attention to key ballot initiatives you may be deciding in less than 90 days. That includes the future of oil and gas development right here in Colorado. Now, by all indications, this is expected to be a heated battle for all of our votes. An anti-drilling group just submitted signatures to get new fracking rules on the November ballot, while at the same time the oil and gas industry is stockpiling millions of dollars to fight it. Denver 7's Jennifer Kowaleski goes 360 to give all of us a deeper dive on Initiative 97.
Colorado's leap into the shale boom is sparking a ballot box battle, a clash between deep-pocketed operators and grassroots activism that could mark a turning point in the fight over drilling along the Front Range.
We turned in 171,000 signatures.
Industry critics snapped these photos on Monday as they turned in what they say is more than enough signatures to get the measure aimed at limiting fracking to voters this November.
Over 71,000 more than are required for the ballot.
Ann Lee Foster is a supporter and member of Colorado Rising, the group behind Initiative 97.
We decided to take the power into our own hands.
The measure would increase the setback for new wells to 2,500 feet, 5 times what it is now. An effort to keep rigs out of backyards, where more and more are popping up in communities like Erie and Broomfield. In their view, this is about protecting Coloradans' health and safety.
We are protecting homes, schools, playgrounds, and water sources from industrial oil and gas development.
For Colorado shale drillers, 2018 has been a boom year, but Initiative 97, they say, not only threatens that growth, it would ban 85% of Colorado's natural gas and oil development. That's a big hit to a major economic driver for our state. We're talking more than $31 billion a year.
Private property rights, more than 100,000 good-paying jobs, and more than $1 billion in taxes that now go to schools, parks, and libraries across our state.
Dan Haley runs the Colorado Oil and Gas Association and represents the industry. From their perspective, this is not only a job and tax killer.
They are distinguished panelists.
Former U.S. Interior Secretary Ken Salazar went even further during this annual State of Colorado Energy Roundtable.
It's fundamentally, in my view, unconstitutional, and it's a regulatory taking that I don't think anybody wants to buy into.
No matter which side of the argument you land on, with so much at stake on both sides,
it's beyond extreme and unnecessary.
Get ready for lots of these to start flooding the airwaves. The industry has a well-stocked piggy bank ready to go to battle. Protect Colorado, a political group created by the state's largest oil and gas companies, has already raised more than $13 million. Anadarko has contributed the most at $4.5 million. Initiative 97 supporters don't have near that much. They've raised just $527,000.
We're confident that most Coloradans are going to see through this charade and support the men and women who are the backbone of our state.
We've been outspent by the industry 30-1 in a lot of cases. You see that in Broomfield, Erie, and we still win at the ballot box.
So both candidates for Colorado governor have come out against Initiative 97, although the Democratic Party as a whole has endorsed it. Clearly a lot to discuss here. I'm joined today by Denver Post columnist Krista Kafer and Blair Miller with DenverChannel.com. Both of you, thanks for joining us. A lot of passion. You heard it in the report. Both sides, a lot of money, a really critical issue for the state. Krista, first, your insight.
I think it's going to have some really bad unintended consequences if it passes. We're going to see people lose jobs, maybe even 100,000 people losing their jobs, and then more as time goes on. You saw that it's a big economic driver. $31 billion a year. That's substantial. We would lose that. Think about severance taxes that go to communities. They would lose that. And think about also people who have mineral rights under their lands. A lot of these folks are farmers. They're going to lose those royalty checks. This is going to have a lot of unintended consequences and really no benefit because we know that fracking is safe. It doesn't hurt the groundwater. It's highly regulated. It's really been a boon for our state. I think this would be really unfortunate.
So Blair, the other side, you've written many stories on this issue, including the homeowners' impact, what happened in Firestone and other communities, some of these wells showing up near schools. What do you think from that perspective?
I mean, I think really it does come down to the argument of what's safe, what is acceptable, and what is going to be cost beneficial for the state. And I think that's what both sides are really trying to get down to voters on here is, there's obviously a lot of emotion on both the sides, but I think that both sides are really just trying to cut through that or need to do a better job of cutting through that in order to get to people to vote one way or another.
I don't think they're going to cut through it, though.
Yeah, I think that one, it probably has a longer shot than some of the other ones if they make the ballot.
And speaking of some of the other ones, there's also another critical issue where taxes could be raised to help schools, raising taxes on Colorado residents making $150,000 or more. Blair, we'll start with you. Right. Initiative 93, your thoughts?
Yeah, Initiative 93 was the first one to make it on November's ballot that has been citizen initiated. But yeah, essentially there's about according to the Legislative Council, there's about 175,000 Colorado households that could be affected by this if it passes. Basically, it would raise sales tax on a gradual basis, or income tax, sorry, on a gradual basis for those higher earners. People making under $150,000 wouldn't see their taxes increase, and that would go to $1.6 billion annually for public schools for the districts to decide what they want to do with it.
Krista, as a columnist for the Denver Post, your perspective, what are your thoughts on Initiative 93?
You know, I think that we've got Initiative 93 to raise taxes for education. We also have a roads tax initiative, referendum actually on the ballot. I don't know that either of them will pass. If you look at our state, it is a purple state, but there's not much of an appetite for raising taxes.
And that's really, I think, what people are talking about specifically with this 93 thing is, you know, most people don't want to raise taxes, but we saw that there was such a big push from the teachers, from Teachers Association to try and get this initiative on the ballot. And we saw Denver Public Schools come out and say, yeah, we would use some of that money for teacher pay. So I think if there's one thing that could get people to vote for that, it would be all the districts coming out and saying exactly what they plan to use that money for if it passes.
Well, thank you both for joining us. Two critical issues I'm sure we'll be talking about in the weeks ahead before the November vote. And we're going to take a break right now, be back with more Politics Unplugged right after this.